Good morning and welcome. It is Sunday, the 8th of January. I am Flat Cap Callum, and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. All right, what can we do for Sunday? Well, before we get to Sunday, we'll obviously go through Saturday. Sunday, quite a day, £10 day. I've got 6 horses, and I could have done them in the Lucky 63, which I don't think I've actually ever done on the channel. But I've split them in 2 Lucky 15s with putting weighting on the best 2. So there's 2 horses in Meydan over in Dubai. There is 2 in the UK, 1 at Southwell, 1 at Chepstow, and 2 at Naas. So yeah, I've split them with 2 of them in both Lucky 15s. The ones that I've got, I think, have got more value. That's the way I've done it. If you want to do a Lucky 63, you fill your boots. But in terms of profit margin type bet, 2 Lucky 15s feels like the sensible thing to do. Lucky 63, that'll be going for glory. So first race, 1 o'clock at Southwell. So before I get to those, I'll do the review of yesterday. Now, if I was doing the review of yesterday, I could start off and I could tell you I had a 50-1 winner, a 9-1 winner, I had 20-1 places, I had 16-1 places, and then just move on to today's bets, couldn't I? I could do that, but I'm not going to do that. It was a good day yesterday. We had a nice day. The reality of yesterday is there was decent winners, decent places across the park. We turned a profit. For the week, slightly up, about £3 I think it is. For the year, down about £2. So, you know, basically yesterday's decent bets levelled out the rest of the results we've already had this week. So I'm not going to come on and start giving it a load of this because the reality is long-term profit. So we are slightly down for the year, slightly ahead for the week. Clearly, history of the channel, we're all right, aren't we? But in terms of actually the context this week, I think it's really important that people don't get carried away because there was a 50-1 winner. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely delighted for the second time in the space of a couple of months to hit a 50-1 winner being my horse of the day on ITV Racing, because you don't get 50-1 winners on ITV Racing that often, and to have 2 of them and beyond both of them and also beyond both of them and say it's my horse of the day is very, very good. What I am also conscious of is that not everybody who watches my regular channel has been watching the freebets.com video where I went into that horse wishing and hoping in a lot more detail. I'm trying to strike a balance really, because I'm now producing content on a Saturday for another channel. I need the videos to be distinctively different enough, otherwise it would just look a bit rubbish if it was just the same bets churned out. So I wanted to do something different on there. On that channel, I'm focusing on the ITV Racing, but because I've got less selections, I've also got more time to go through detail of why I'm selecting horses. So I'm not wanting to encourage people to bet more money. What I'm saying is, if you want further explanation or a different way of looking at things, and if you'd done those bets on freebets.com yesterday, you would have been really, really good. So I think I worked it out off SP prices, £10 on, I think it was like 180 back. As far as what did we do yesterday on the channel, 25 on, 63 back. There is a distinct difference between the 38.63 profit we made and the 170 odd you would have made on freebets.com. So there are plenty of regular viewers who did both, who have been in the comments and saying that. But I also want to make sure we've got reality and perspective, that if you are just a regular viewer of my normal channel and haven't been watching the Saturday specials, then you would have had a good day yesterday. But the reality would have been you'd have been better off betting them all singles, because I couldn't hit 2 winners together on the regular channel and couldn't get enough places together to generate a really, really decent return. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. So I'm never on here to give you a whole bunch of positivity when actually it's not warranted. Likewise, we had a good day yesterday. We got to get a bit of context, and I don't want anyone getting carried away thinking, oh, it's Sunday, he's got 6 horses, chuck him in a Lucky 63 and we've won a bit of money, so we'll double up. I wouldn't say these are the ones to double up on, but you never quite know. So how did it go? This is what we had. First leg was 12 o'clock here, and this was one that we really needed to get us going, and fortunately Pleasure Gardens did the business. SP'd nicely, but I don't think anyone got the 28. So by the time I uploaded the video, I think that was almost gone. So I'm conscious for the channel stats. There's a few things in channel stats' favour from yesterday, and a few things in everyone else's favour. So Channel Stats, I don't think anyone else got 28s. So that was that. Then we had Poetic Force at one at 17-2. If you were on SPs, you'd got 9s on that one, so that was slightly in everyone else's favour. Torbellino, I'd say a little unlucky. It was a right bunch finish at the end, and he just couldn't quite get there. So that would have made a real difference, even for a place. And then Whalefer, whatever that is, it wasn't very good. So we had place double with a winner on that one. Combination bet, we hit Pleasure Gardens, and then my preferable 2 in the 3 o'clock at Sandown were first and fourth. So SP'd 50s and 20s. So there's a difference here. So for the channel, I've got 28s going on to 40s and 14s. If you were outside of that, you might have got different prices. If you were SP'd, you'd have got 16s going on to 50s and 20s. And it's important to clarify, there's a few people asking about this in the questions who are kind of less experienced with betting these types of bets. You don't get the double in this way of doing it for 2 horses in the same leg. So you can get bets that do that. I don't do them on the channel because they're in niche side markets and you can't put them on with many bookmakers. This kind of bet you can put on anywhere. So yeah, you don't get the benefit of 2 there, but what you get is 2 doubles. Pleasure Gardens and Wish and Hoping, Pleasure Gardens and Up Hellier King. And clearly, if Pleasure Gardens had gone and won with Wishing and Hoping, we'd have all been cheering there. So nice enough bet, but could have been even a lot more on that one, but we're not complaining. Then bet 3, very unfortunate heavy faller at the last when banged on for a place. So I think it was beaten for the win, but it was banged on for a place, King of May. That turned out to be an unfortunate fall because Nemean Lion 12s drifted to 18s, so some of you will have got 18s on that. That was the big disappointment. If that one had placed, that would have made a whole bunch of difference to us, but it did not. Gambitiet was poor. Up Hellier King ran a really cracking race, 20-1 at 4th place, and Wishing and Hoping 50s. So the 2 horses there, 20s and 50s, were by far the best 2 horses in the frame in that race. But yeah, what a wonderful ride on Wishing and Hoping. Went from the front. It was almost a different type of race because it was a chase and it was further, but it was all very similar to Romeo Brown in the sense of I put up the horse at 40-1, drifted to 50s, went from the front, and you just kept thinking, now it's gonna no, it just kept going. I cheered loudly for Wishing and Hoping, not going to lie. So what did we get here on this bet? So we had a place double, Wishing and Hoping and Nemean Lion, and a place double Up Hellier King with Nemean Lion, and that was it. No other winners on this bet. On the freebets.com, if you did it, you'll know there was another horse in the last at Sandown, Hardy de Soil, that I had it in a double with Wishing and Hoping. but not on the regulars. And then Kempton started off looking like it was going to be possibles. Bawada got right backed in 7-2, won really, really comfortably. Always Fearless went off from 20s and basically did exactly what I was expecting, which is go off from the front and try and hold there. And it really did battle on till the end. It looked like it was going to fade and crumple, but it kept on. And then the sad thing was Hafit Helen then placed, and we're thinking, yes, come on, a win in 2 places. And then that was the most disappointing horse all day, Delvey. It was never even going. It was at the back the whole way. So huge disappointment. Place treble in there, but yeah, the quad place would have been an extra 60 quid in the coffers, and that would have put us in a really good place. So those are results. That's the perspective. I'm happy with yesterday. I feel like I could have done it better for the channel, and that's what it is. But we move on. We've taken our profit, and we're up for the week by about 360, I think it is. 10 on today, so we need 650, I think, back today for a winning week. If we don't get that, we've actually lost this week, albeit very, very small. So this is what I've got. So as I said, 2 UK, 2 Naas, and 2 at Meydan. So at Southwell, first race, Little Joe, 22s. Then we've gone a shorty there, 120 at Naas. And those of you who've looked at that race will see it's a very obvious pick in the sense of, although it's 5-1, you've got massive odds on favourite. That is clearly the second best horse in the race. So if they all go round and they all run to form, that is clearly second best. And if it steps on from last time, it might give the favourite a bit more for a run for its money. But But if a non-runner comes out from further down the market, it's a bit of a pain in the bum. So yeah, so if that race goes down to 4 runners, that's the point I would switch the bet for some of you and put it in as a 5-horse bet, and do it as a lucky 31. So yeah, watch out for that one. If it goes nearer the time and you haven't put the bets on, is it still 5 runners? Then we've got 220 in the main race at Naas in terms of quality. I've gone Dawn Rising at 9s. I know Paddy are doing an offer on that one. Money back, first, second, third, and fourth. That's the horse I'd put in for that bet. For those of you who've got that account and are that way inclined. And then 340 Chepstow Bonza Boy 16-1. It's a 16 pence each way lucky 15. 480 is your bet. Sky Best, but purely down to they're paying 5 on that race. Standard terms there. Most bookies are 4 there. So the only benefit of Sky for this bet is the 5th place on that race. And then it's 365 Paddy and Coral that will give you bog on all of those races. That's bet 1. Then bet 2 has got the same Little Joe and Bonza Boy with a couple of Meydans in. So 1 o'clock Southwell, Little Joe 22s. 310 Meydan, Will to Win 14. That's my preferred Meydan horse. 340 Chepstow Bonza Boy 16s. And then this 455, I was looking at the 420, which is a decent handicap to have a look in terms of it's a decent field size. It's on the dirt, and I'm very careful on the dirt because you get funny results on the dirt, particularly at Meydan. So I've left it out the 420, gone with the 455, but then had a lot of debate because this horse, it was in as a reserve and then got in because of non-runners, and it was 20s and it got hammered in. And I would say the true price to me is actually probably about 9-1. So there's very, very small value in 10s. If it went 8s, I might be looking at something different, to be honest. So I did have a big debate about whether to include it or not, but it's a good race in terms of it's a good field size. So I've left it in, but I'm flagging the value in that one is the smallest of all 6 horses. So this is a 15p each way lucky 15, and then the 35p each way double on Meydan's double. So what I'm saying is the Southwell Chepstow 2 have got more value, and they are the biggest prices. Then the Meydan 2 I would slightly have ahead of the Naas ones, although the Naas ones look a little bit more solid because you've got much lower prices. Then I would have the Meydan ones as slightly preferable. So the stake is banked in that way. So hopefully that makes sense. You could just chuck them in a lucky 63, as I said, but what I've done is done it like this so I can weight the ones with more value. So that is that. Okay, that's it. So I will be back on I'll be back with Wednesday selections on Tuesday night. So we're back to the regular schedule. So no selections from me on Monday or Tuesday unless I find anything particular, and I shall put it in the comments. I do, for those of you who are new, on the end of this video, when we get to tomorrow morning, I'll write a little comment on the comments thread for Monday's kind of selections. If there's anything for me, I'll put it in there, and then what I do is encourage those people who like to keep sharing their selections all throughout the week to then comment in there. And there's a nice bunch of people, and as you know, obviously I had a good day today, but there was a number of others on the channel that also did, and Susan's a great example. She was all over wishing and hoping as well. So I'm not advocating or encouraging people to share each other's tips. It's a community. That's what it's there for. So I'm not going to say whether they're the best or the worst. People put their tips up, and I'm really cool with that. And as long as people take it with the caveat that it's someone's opinion and you do what you want with it. So actively encourage a kind of sharing of thoughts, because ultimately, if the more of you that think the same thing, then the better that might potentially be. Because what we're here is we're not here to be putting out the 2-1 favourites, are we? So the people on this channel following have got the mindset mostly of you trying to find the value and trying to find the prices, and the more of you that find yourself corralling around the same horse, that's generally going to be a bit of a positive sign, I would say. All right, finishing there. Thank you very much, and I will see you on Tuesday night for Wednesday selections. Bye bye.